Hi, I'm Judy Detlefs from Adgraphics. Thank you for inviting us to be part of your training event. We've been communicating health, safety, environment, quality and risk since 2005, and we've developed games, we do signage, and we do induction videos specific to mostly food factories. So we are grateful to be invited. We would appreciate your consideration as we would like to protect our IP at this stage. We are in the process of slowly developing more and more games, and it does take a lot of time. So we would ask that nobody photograph any of the games and that they would share that without our knowledge and permission. Thank you and enjoy your event. This is part of the SPILS event equipment. There's a video, there's this crossword, oversized team effort, and there's a floor mat. The clues are in here, and the questions are over here, and it shouldn't take very long to fill this in, wipe it down, and have the next group come through. Hi, this is the SPILS game. So you need a room from your site out of your spill kit. You have liquid and this spade. And then what happens is you have two players in one team. Their objective is to make the least amount of spillage possible. It's very hard for people to resist giving it a good whack, but the more they do that, the more penalties they're going to get. And in reality, spills are possibly inevitable, but the amount of damage it does just escalates the bigger the spill is. So the training on this game is the two people, well, how it works is the two people are opposite each other. One has a broom on the other side and they have to knock it over, but the objective is to make the smallest amount of spill possible. The inclination is that people will want to hit things hard and they end up with a bigger penalty or fine, in this case, for the wider the spill goes. Using the equipment from the spill kit, for an example of that, we're going to have a trial run, they get one practice run of knocking this off gently. Spills are inevitable sometimes, and in this case we're just going to practice doing the smallest spill possible. The penalties are forfeits, they need to run, walk around a block or do push-ups or something if they get outside of the blue area. So, okay, she's fine, she's safe for penalties. Now we'll try with water. That's the road. Yeah. Oh! So we are way out and we need to do penalties for that. So how this works is that if the nose and toes is affected in a small spill, it's a 10,000 Rand penalty, and the two people need to do nose and toes, touch their nose and toes, because those would be the things affected by a spill. Tilapia would be the next level that's affected, of a 100,000 Rand penalty for damages to the rivers. So the penalty is the next area affected would be represented by the tortoise, which would be your environment, the land, all the land around the site, and that would be 10 million Rands penalties. The next area of spillage would be the Tarantal, as in the sky. That is 100 million penalty. So if a spillage does go all the way to the ocean, to the turtles, the damages and penalties could exceed R1 billion and ultimately end up shutting the company. This is the road safety or safe travel game. It's about distractions, alcohol and drugs. So the idea is that the person would leave home safely, would journey and experience many distractions. We offer 6, and they would need to take at least 3 of those and apply them, and then they take a turn at the end of the day, sample some drugs or alcohol, and then navigate to get home safely, or as safely as they can. So the items we use in this game, the coordinator of the game initially would need to discuss this and say, how do you drive? Are you distracted? Do you drink en route home sometimes? And then the goal is to experience that. So the classes, as they start the event, they would need to step onto the start button on the game. They would get handed their first item, which would be these red sunglasses. They have designs in them. One is for navigation, so that looks like a Google Maps on that lens. And then on the other lens would be the alcohol experience. So because there were no glasses like this available, we've created some, but in future we do have some that are waiting in Germany to come. So next time we play this game, we'll be able to do it properly. But in the meantime, what they do is put the glasses on and hold one hand in front of the experience they are not having at the time. Right, so you've got 6 options. Which one would you start with? Or which 3 are you likely to use on a daily basis?
Definitely cell phone, definitely lipstick, some history.
Right, so you are distracted, looking for navigation, and you need to walk between the yellow lines, and I'll hand you one at a time.
Okay.
Right, which one do you do first? Lipstick. Cool. Okay,
And
hold one hand over the Durban alcohol so you can see what it does. Okay. Cell phone, cell phone. Keep going. Whoa, keep really going. Some drinking on the corner, yes. Nearly finished. Well done. Okay. Now, change hands and see what it feels like to be drunk. Get the bottle.
oh no!
Moving vehicles is a big hazard on sites. So we've created this game that gives people an experience as a pedestrian and a forklift driver, or both. The objective is to get back to your base or your office without crossing demarcated lines. The yellow areas are, as you cross over a yellow area, then you are either injured or you have a fatality. So how this is played, either by 4 or 8, the pedestrians go on the outer ring of the property, of the factory, and the vehicles go on the inside, and you get a turn each to go from home base, with matching corresponding colour, back to home. And whoever does that is obviously the winner. So if you're coordinating this game, you would give each player their respective pedestrian or forklift. They're a team, or that could be one player. They would then flick in the direction that the arrow goes in, that's home base, and they would have to stay within the lines. If they cross over, they're injured. If the disc lands up fully over the yellow line, they are dead and they're out of the game. The same applies to the vehicle. If the vehicle is flicked and it goes over the yellow line, it has been damaged, so that's destruction of property. But if it ends up being flicked right over a yellow line, that vehicle is a write-off, and then they're out the game. So they miss a turn if they go onto a yellow line. If they go through the yellow line, they're out the game. Here I am heading through the SHERQ department. Oh, I'm out the game already. like snakes and ladders with the dice and go ascending to the final block green with information the whole way, some lessons learned, a clinic, and sometimes in these games you get kicked out for various misdemeanors. So each player then would select a colour, they throw the dice, and that's how the game goes. The machine game is about lotto and 0 injuries. So you throw the dice and move around the board. There's a sneaky little one that often catches people about ignoring the procedures and getting the maximum sanction of being dismissed from sight, as in the board. This game can be played using these discs as tokens with dice, or you could use the big cones as well. This is a great tool for explaining lotto and the breadth of what it's all about. People often presume that lotto is just related to electricity. We show 7 different examples of what that looks like, and then 5 different steps of procedures. This game can be played by turning them over, mixing them up, or just demonstrating and talking about it. So one of the games is about specifically hands and machine, and this has got 5 parts to it, where people would experience things using limited missing appendages. So they have the challenges which I'll show you in a few minutes, but you may want to run some videos and have a chat to everybody first about hand safety, and you could use these as props, just to say you protect your hands in different ways all the time, on the sports field, at work, using PPE like this, or even at home. This is one of the challenges, to move items with lacking fingers. Middle finger is not there, so the goal would be to get product from one side of the factory to the other on this journey. This is a fun, colourful one, but there is also this challenge. The box is not here right now, it's being used for measurements, but the goal there is that the person would try and get around the circuit without beeping. So this is a reminder about lotto. Actually, the conversation on this one is that it's virtually impossible to beat this machine, and we should never try and beat a machine. We always need to apply the lotto procedures. This game is to remind you how much you need a pinky. It's very difficult to even hammer a hammer without a pinky. So this glove goes with this game, ring toss. Right, this one is a challenge to have no first finger, pointer. The person gets offered their most comfortable or favourite shoes. Is it comfort wear, sportswear or workwear? They would pick one, then say sportswear, and there's a tucky trainer, and then they need to thread it as quickly as they can within a time frame. Quite difficult with one hand. That's the other challenge, is threading with one hand. Again, a similar challenge would be to have 2 people competing against each other for a minute, and they each get a string or 2, and they get 2 threads, just using one hand without a first finger. And they would literally have to keep one hand away and try to thread as best they can using one hand. See who wins after a minute. On this one is to again have a challenge with one missing finger that's there, and put my name I'm sending this as an example of what we have as an A1 ABS board that can stay permanently in the safety department. It demonstrates how many different examples there are of injuries that can occur, from burns, amputations, infections, even carpal tunnel. This is also a good example of PPE, and this is the last line of defense. We use it in our daily lives, at work, and even in the sports field. The reason why I made it as a dowel was some of it is quite gross. So you can expose people just to a little bit at a time, keeping it a conversation without being too gruesome. But if your people are up to gruesome, I will send this as well. And you can just flash that to land the severity, that it's not just all about fun and games, but that we really are trying to prevent injuries. There's a long story you can have about amputations, and then people need to keep the digit or the deep cut warm, that within 20 minutes to maximum 3 hours those nerves will die. So the goal is not to put ice onto an injury or something that's amputated. If it is to be reattached, it needs to stay warm and dry and clean. Talking about sports field, my own daughter cut her finger off. She was lifting a motorbike onto the back of a utility vehicle, and her finger with gloves, got caught between the spokes and the cogs. So my husband doesn't cope with blood very well. He phoned me. I travelled from our house to the field where they were, loaded her up in a vehicle and took her to hospital. She was still a little girl, and since then she's not very keen to ride motorbikes, needless to say. So just on a personal level, I would love to give some skills to people that believe that ice is the right thing to do. I didn't know what we needed to do to try and save the end of her finger, and it would have been great if we'd hunted around a little bit and found it and been able to reattach it, because she happens to now have a very short finger, and she played piano at the time and would like to do surgery. She's in the medical field. But it's part of her story to tell, and since then we've discovered that the way to get a reattachment on is to get that finger to the doctor and into surgery, ideally within 20 minutes. The cells start dying very quickly, so the worst thing you can do is put something like that on ice. You need to keep it warm, either under an arm, maybe even in the patient's mouth, just to keep it clean, relatively clean and warm. And then if people can phone ahead, that it might be on a sports field or in the workplace, could be anywhere where some injury like this would happen. If it's a burn, it's treated differently, but certainly with an amputation or deep cut, the trick would be to keep it as warm as possible and to phone ahead. Get that surgeon and the medical team ready and prepped so that they can do that reattachment. They're often very reluctant to in the workplace. I have chatted to doctors about this and asked whether they've ever reattached working people as appendages, and it's so seldom. So it just needs to be a skill that is available to people if they do want to keep their fingers. And it could be ears, could be a nose, toes, just some helpful advice from someone who's journeying this journey. This is an extremely popular game in South Africa called Rubber. You have 12 pieces each, and you play it and you jump cows, but each of these designs is reminding people. So we sell it as a gift to take home, because that message about hand safety needs to be brought home. And there are so many ways that people can injure their hands that it's good to be reminded about all of those. In summary, as most factories will state, these 10 tools don't come with spare parts. So let's aim for 0 hand injuries, 0 energy state, and 100% safety.